1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yes, yes, yes. This is Raphael Dawkins, Mr. Combat Radio. And today, well, this is a bit of a weird one. Bit of a weird one. Popped into a private chat, behind the scenes thing. And immediately, it's like, oh yeah, Rafi's here. So yeah, you versus Fight Doctor. Yeah, Rafi versus Fight Doctor. I said, what? I just popped into a private chat. Next thing I know, a few seconds later, I'm in a debate. It was what? It was something like, let me try and get the times right. It was something like 1:50, 2, 3. Yeah, I think it was something like 1:50, late in the morning or early in the morning, late at night. I just thought, just before I go to bed, let me just pop in and chop the shizzle. Let me just pop in and chop the shizzle. And I was waylaid. Yeah, Rafi and Fight Doctor. Rafi, I said, what? Next thing you know, boom. The Rafi is in a debate. And then sometime after that, the Rafi finds out the thing is being recorded. And then even further after that, I realized when I come off that the thing is not just being recorded, the thing is live. So I pop over to a private place for a private chat, and I end up live on YouTube. Most bizarre. How bizarre. So I thought, well, how do I? Yeah. Anyway, that's a long story. So I thought, well, what do I do? Footage is out there. Okay, so bring the footage home. Bring the footage home where it belongs, where it should be. When Raphael Dawkins debates, it's over here. Goes down over here. So, without further ado, allow me to present. I should be showing these comments, by the way. Where's my manners? Shizbiz up in the building. YG Knight was there, up in the building. It's funny because YG Knight doesn't like to go live. Over there doesn't like to go live, but all of a sudden it's all good when it's the Rafi. But it's all good. It's all good because we're bringing it over here. Luis Ortiz was already around 30 when... Okay, so here we are. Unbiased or biased boxing. Luis Ortiz does not beat Larry Holmes, nor does he beat Holyfield, nor does he beat Lennox Lewis. Absolutement. Well, you're in the show already, bro. I'll drop the link while we go through. Don't worry. So let's get this thing on and popping. Where are we? It's experimental shizzle going down right now. Experimental shizzle. How is this going to work? Am I just going to play you the audio? Or am I going to share the actual screen? I don't know. Let me start off by... Get that out of the way for a start. What was that? Get that out of there. What is this? Yeah, we don't need that neither. Neither or either. Neither. Where is the screen I'm looking for? What the hell's going on? Have I shut this bloody thing down? What the hell's going on? What is going on? Oh, there it is. Damn. I had a panic. Thought I clicked the wrong button and just booted myself off. We are live. It's going down right over here. Raphael Dawkins of Combat Radio. So let's get into this. Let me get it loud so you can hear it.
His record in terms of knockouts, I think, is on it.
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say he's the only guy that hits harder than Wall? The rest could argue.
What I'm saying is that when you look at punchers in the heavyweight division, most of those guys made their name knocking out nobodies or next to nobodies.
I disagree.
All right. Now, Sonny Liston knocked out Floyd Patterson, who was a light heavyweight. Okay.
What Tyson? You gotta see that. Explain about Tyson.
Well, you lost already. Fight after last, you lost. So that's to explain out. So no. I can short circuit this whole thing, and I can tell you how you already lost.
I'm listening.
Okay, right. So Mike Tyson means that he's not an anomaly. Lennox Lewis, he's not an anomaly. Bang, case closed, done.
But what? That's
three moves on the chessboard.
That's only 3 people you named, though. So
Wait, what do you mean that's only? First, for start, YG, just settle one side, or one side, mute your mind,
yes, I'm saying.
one side.
This is what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. All right, so wait. Now, let me dismantle your quote-unquote chess moves, all right?
Yeah.
Those stolen gems. Those
Stolen gems.
Okay.
Yo, bro, I got
gems.
receipts for my gems. I
Okay.
got the receipts for my gems.
What are Lennox Lewis's probably 2 best knockouts? 2 or 3 best knockouts.
Off the top of my head, Hasim Rahman, and Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I don't even need to listen. I don't even think I need to even explain.
I'm gonna beat you, Ahmed. Go ahead.
Or even debate, or even try to knock over those 2 wins. Okay, when he knocked out Mike Tyson was arguably 20 years out of his prime. Okay, 15 years out of his prime, and then Hasim Rahman again, he falls in the category of nobody or next to nobody. So again, if we talk about, and me personally, I think Lennox Lewis's probably best knockout win was probably Razor Ruddock, who had already been knocked out by Mike Tyson. So again, how is Lennox Lewis an anomaly like George Foreman? He's not. Okay, I'm sorry, but when it comes to quality of knockout wins, Lennox Lewis is not in the same category as George Foreman. He just isn't. I love Lewis. Okay, I think he's one of the all-time greats. But in terms of his knockout wins and quality of opposition in his knockout wins, he's not in George Foreman's class. He isn't.
No, you asked me to name it. You asked me to name it. Yeah, you asked me to name it some more. You asked me to name it some more. I said, no, you got it wrong. You got it twisted. I said George Foreman was the gold standard.
And I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, but then you asked me to name some more guy. And I said Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis.
Okay, Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis.
That's on the job.
In terms of their quality of opposition with regard to guys that they've knocked out, they're not in the same class as George Foreman.
I know. I said George Foreman is the gold standard. And then you said, well, name some others, but they're beneath the gold standard. Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis are beneath the gold standard.
Okay. So listen, the quality of their knockout wins, all right, is if the quality of their knockout wins is better than Wilder's, it's only marginally better.
Explain.
If
they're fighting significantly better fighters than Wilder, then how are their knockouts only marginally better?
No, the question is not that they're fighting significantly better opposition. The question is, are they knocking out significantly better opposition? That's the question.
Well, if they're fighting significantly better opposition, then surely their knockouts a significantly better opposition because they're
Well,
fighting.
we have to ask the question. We have to ask the question.
Hold on, I
Who
haven't
they
finished.
knock out?
I haven't finished. If they are fighting significantly better opposition, then surely the knockouts are of significantly better opposition because that's who they're fighting.
Well, we have to ask the question.
That's
Who
the
did they
question.
knock out? Who did Lennox Lewis knock out? I asked the question.
I asked that already. I said, I see Rahman, and another one would be clean. You said it yourself, Razor Ruddock. That's another good one.
Ruddock had already been knocked out by Mike Tyson, so I'm not impressed.
Ruddock had been knocked. Who didn't Mike Tyson knock out in the early days?
A bunch of nobody.
He was knocking everybody. He was knocking everybody out.
Okay, but listen, Mike Tyson came along at the mid to tail end of the 1980s, which honestly was a weak era in boxing. It was a weak era in the heavyweight division, okay? You look at the names on Tyson's ledger, who he was knocking out in the mid to late 80s. I mean, who are these guys? James Bone Crusher Smith? I mean, sure, those are good wins, but listen, Bone Crusher Smith is not knocking on the door of the Hall of Fame. He's just not, okay? If
Bone Crusher Smith fought Wilder, where would Bone Crusher Smith rank in terms of his ranking in terms of the people that Wilder fought? He'd be pretty high up, yeah.
He'd probably be one of his better men.
We agree with that. We agree with that. So that's still a significantly better win than and a significantly better scalp for Mike Tyson than 99.9% of Deontay Wilder's scalps. But yet, you just said that wasn't all that. He wasn't all that much of an. He wasn't all that. He wasn't all that to Mike Tyson. But you've also just agreed that he would be one of Deontay Wilder's top.
Listen, I'm not. Listen, I'm not at the mountaintop screaming shouting about the depth of Deontay Wilder's resume. Okay, listen, Deontay Wilder has knocked out a bunch of tomato cans. I'll be the first to admit that. Okay. But again, all right. When you look at the resumes of other punchers, they've done the same. All right. And when you look at the resume of other punchers and you look at Deontay Wilder's resume, I see a lot of stuff in common in terms of the quality opposition that they have knocked out. All right.
Can you
elaborate beyond that?
Elaborate.
But above and beyond, what I'm saying is Mike Tyson knocked out a bunch of C-level and B-level guys. Okay. Same for Lennox Lewis. Same for basically any puncher in the heavyweight division who's been celebrated at some point. Okay, one point or another. Rocky Marciano, excellent example of a guy who knocked out nobody but tomato cans. Okay, now he beat some good fighters for his day. All right, but a lot of those guys that he beat, who were of the upper echelon, most of those guys were either old or coming up in weight or whatever it might be. Okay, but yeah, when you look at the people who Marciano was beating, it was a bunch of tomato cans for the most part. Okay, I mean his resume is fucking ridiculous in terms of how weak it is, except for when he gets this championship run and he beats. He knocks out Jersey Joe Walcott. Jersey Joe Walcott was 38 fucking years old. Okay?
Yeah.
And we're talking about 38 years old in the 50s when guys had like 200 professional fights. Shit. I mean, in terms of the wear and tear on his body, it was probably more closer to 38. So it's a fucking joke. So what I'm saying is that, a lot of the top punchers historically in the division have made their bones knocking out a bunch of C-level guys. All right, Mike Tyson is no different. All right, and in fact, listen.
Come to your conclusion, though, because I'm coming when you finish.
My conclusion is that when you look at Deontay Wilder, now, if you ask me, does Deontay Wilder have a victory over, a real stellar heavyweight? And the answer is obviously no. He doesn't. All right.
So you killed your own argument. You killed your own argument.
What are you talking about?
You killed your own. You just killed your own arguments.
How did I kill my own argument? I said the argument.
Are you getting the power, isn't it?
Hamid, one more time, Hamid.
You killed your own argument because basically,
the point I'm making is that Deontay Wilder is on par, all right, with the second tier of heavyweight punchers.
Who's the second tier?
The Lennox Lewis's and the Mike Tysons of the world. He's on
please,
par with those guys.
no, please, no, don't say that. Do not say that. Do not say that. Because when you look at Mike Tyson,
who are the two best guys?
When you look at no, it's my turn. I'm coming to that. It's my turn. You shouldn't say what you just said, because to compare Deontay Wilder's knockout with Mike Tyson's is my friend. Please, no, don't do that. Do not do that. Let me read out, because I'm looking at the list now. So Mike Tyson, just some random names in front of me. You got Trevor Burbick. You got James Bone Crusher Smith, who we both agree would be at the higher level of Deontay Wilder's fights. James Bone Crusher Smith, Mike Tyson knocked him out. Pinklon Thomas, knocked out. Tony Tucker, oh no, that's a unanimous decision. Okay. Terrell Biggs, knocked out. Larry Holmes, knocked out.
Wait. Holmes was the old man.
Okay, fair enough. No, I'm not going to stop because one man was an old man. I'm carrying on. Tony Tucker, Tony Tubbs, yeah, knocked out. Michael Spinks, okay, was a like cruiserweight, whatever, knocked out. Frank Bruno, knocked out. Who's that?
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah.
Y'all having a one-on-one debate?
Yeah, they're having a one-on-one debate. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Knocked out. Carla Truth Williams, knocked out. Yeah, it's just, the list goes on and on and on. And all of these guys would be at the top of Wilder's resume. All of these guys would be the top top two of Wilder's
So let me ask you a question.
And hold on. And he knocked them out. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. There's no comparison between Wilder's resume and knockouts and Mike Tyson's or Lennox Lewis. No, you can't do that. You cannot do that.
All right, now let me ask you this question. All right, now how many fights does Deontay Wilder have?
It's in the 40s, 42, 43. Carry on.
And out of those 42, 43 fights, how many knockouts?
It's almost it's a high number. What is it? 40? 41?
Now, by the time a guy like Mike Tyson was 40 fights in, how many knockouts did he have?
40 fights in?
Yeah.
Damn. What? 40, 45, something like that?
No, I said by the time Mike Tyson was 40 fights, by the time he had his 40 professional fights, how many knockouts did he have?
By the time he had 40 fights, I don't know, maybe 33, something like that.
So now,
So Deontay Wilder's a higher percentage of knockouts. Yeah, carry on.
Now,
And he has a higher percentage of knockouts over Lennox Lewis as well. Yeah, carry on.
okay, so the point that I'm making here is, look, Trevor Burbick, Bone Crusher Smith, all those guys fought in a weak heavyweight era. Okay? I mean,
Mike Tyson's era was a weak heavyweight era.
that's universally understood.
That's universally
Okay.
understood that Mike Tyson fought in a weak heavyweight era.
Well,
So what is it now then? What is it now then?
My word for it.
No, hold on. What is it now then? If it was a weak, if it was a weak heavyweight era, when
I can't take no more. I cannot take no more. The man's talking about it was a weak heavyweight era. And the Mike Tyson era was a weak heavyweight era. I cannot take it. I can't take that madness. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hold on. Wait, let's continue.
Mike Tyson was fighting, what is it now in comparison to that?
Slightly better. And the only reason why it's slightly better now.
Hold on. No. I want this to be clear and on the record. You are saying to me that the heavyweights of today are better than the heavyweights of Mike Tyson's era.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, wait.
What I'm saying is that the heavyweight era of today is as weak, but with the difference.
You said it was better. You said it was better. No, you never said it was better. You said it was better.
Wait, okay. I'm about to explain what I said. Just give me 2 seconds. It's better in the sense that in Mike Tyson's era, you didn't have 3 dominant heavyweights, whereas today you do. Because Mike Tyson didn't have an Anthony Joshua. Mike Tyson did not Mike Tyson didn't have an Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury to compete against. He didn't. Okay? Now Tyson was on top from 86 to 90. Now, who was the other dominant heavyweight during that time?
86, 19.
From 1986 to 90. From 1986 to 90. That was Mike Tyson's era. Okay? He got knocked off the roof in February 1990 by Buster Douglas, never to be seen again, essentially. All right? Now, he had a couple of good wins after the Douglas fight, but after the Douglas fight, it was over for Tyson. And he even admits that.
In 86, where was Evander Holyfield?
Evander Holyfield was fighting as an amateur, and he was a cruiser. In fact, he was a light heavyweight.
Where was Lennox Lewis?
Lennox Lewis was fighting in the Olympics. In 1986, Lennox Lewis had not yet turned professional.
86.
From 86 to 90.
Yeah.
Was the Mike Tyson era. Now, who was the other great heavyweight? Who were the other 2 great heavyweights? I'm sorry, I take that back. Not great. Good heavyweights. Recognizable heavyweights.
In 86
to 90.
In 86
to 90. Who were the guys?
In 86 to 90.
Now listen. Okay, now in Deontay Wilder's era, we have 2 other heavyweights. We have Tyson Fury. We have Anthony Joshua, who have been making noise in the division. In addition to Wilder, okay, threats. All 3 of them are a threat to each other. Who was the threat to Mike Tyson in his day?
Oh, damn. Okay. So sure. See, Larry Holmes was still around.
Larry Holmes, man. Look, Larry Holmes lost to Mike Spinks in 1985. And he was an old man.
Yeah, I saw that fight. I don't think it's
so.
Okay, so Pinklon Thomas. Where was Pinklon Thomas?
Pinklon Thomas was part of that 86 to 90 era.
Okay. Pinklon Thomas, you had Bone Crusher Smith, you had Tubbs. You say that Evander Holyfield wasn't on the scene yet.
No, Evander Holyfield was not in the heavyweight division yet.
Okay. Yeah, well, Larry Holmes, Pinklon Thomas, Tony Tubbs. Yeah, those guys there. Those guys were around.
Okay, so now my question again is, how are those guys better than what Deontay Wilder has to compete against now?
Oh, okay. So
now, see, your argument
is but he's not competing with Anthony Joshua, yeah? because they're not fighting. So he's not competing with them. He's competing with Tyson Fury. Fine. That's top of the line. That's the top of the line guy.
Okay,
He's competing with Tyson Fury, and he's competing with Luis Ortiz.
but the point that I'm making
Those are his best wins. Those are his best wins. Okay.
But the point that I'm making is that the era that he's competing in now is I don't want to say it's a lot better, but it is a higher caliber. It's a higher quality of era than Tyson's era was. And I think everyone here can agree. Now, the step back, that doesn't mean that Wilder's knockouts are better. Now, I'm not making that argument, but they are on par with the shit that Mike Tyson was knocking out back 86 to 90.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. OMG. So, ultimately, Fight Doctor saying that the Mike Tyson era was a weaker era than it is now. What can I say? What can I say? Well, you've heard my responses. We got the Larry Holmes. We got the Lennox Lewis. We got the Oliver McCalls. We got the Mike Tyson himself. He was in the Mike Tyson era. Oh no, R.I.P. Tommy Morrison. George Foreman. We got the Ray Mercers. Damn. Ray Mercer would wreak havoc. Ultimately, I'm saying utter poppycock. Utter poppycock. Pure and utter nonsense. So we got two of the greats of that era anyway, right, in one pick. Is that when they were fighting? I guess so. It looks like some scales in between them. Is Lennox on some kind of big phone at the Wayne? What the hell's going on? Right? And big phones. You forgot about Michael Moorer? Have you forgotten about Michael Moorer? Big George. Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe would cause havoc. Go through this generation like a wrecking ball at his best, at his peak. Keep him out the kitchen. See that there? Evander Holyfield right there. Evander Holyfield right there. Yeah, once again, the king of the ring. Damn, even Shannon Briggs. Anyway, it's crazy. There's no common sense. Mike's era puts our era to shame. So if Mike had the belt in 96, wouldn't that be a part of his era? Of course it's a part of his era. The whole conversation seems to be more of an agenda than a debate. It's quite obvious. It's more of an agenda than a debate. So when you're just dealing with pure agendas, then common sense goes out of the window.
That's the argument I'm making. And in that sense, this whole argument about Wilder's power being overrated is nonsensical.
Okay, I hear your argument, and I have to disagree. Tyson was fighting and knocking out better opponents than Wilder has met for the most part.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I would take Luis Ortiz to knock out everyone Tyson knocked out from 1986 to 1990. Period. End of story.
You say Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz. Not even
I would take Luis Ortiz to knock out everyone Tyson knocked out during his time at the top. Yes.
Damn.
Yep.
And that is
during his
than Wilder.
During his time, Tyson knocked out from 1986 to 1990. Period. End of story.
You say Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz.
Okay. And here we come to the crux of it. The Fight Doctor says he would take Luis Ortiz Luis Ortiz to knock out. I want you to hear it for himself. Hear it for yourself. I want you to hear it for yourself. Where we at? Right there. Let's share. So come again. What's the timing on that? 246, 2046. So let's go back a little bit. Okay, right there. Okay, let's line it up. Listen for yourself.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I would take Luis Ortiz to knock out everyone Tyson knocked out from 1986 to 1990. Period. End of story.
You say Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz. Not even
I would take Luis Ortiz to knock out everyone Tyson knocked out during his time at the top. Yes.
Damn.
Yep.
And that is the end of the debate. And we open the floor now to get other people's opinions. So to be clear, I'm saying that Mike Tyson knocked out, the people Mike Tyson knocked out would be the higher echelon of the people who Deontay Wilder has fought. And the fight doctor is saying that he would take Luis Ortiz to knock out everybody that Mike Tyson did. That's the end of the debate. We open the floor now for others to have their say.
The floor is open. The floor is open.
The floor is open. DJ, don't start with you. Let's go to Hamid. Let's go to Phil Walker. Hamid's in the kitchen. Hamid's cooking. Phil Walker's not there either.
So,
Phil Walker, is he?
Phil Walker is absolutely 100%.
Come on, Phil. Speak your truth, my friend. Speak your truth. You've heard the debate. Speak your truth.
Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Since we're gonna talk about universally known things, let's he said it was universally known that Tyson fought in a weak era. I'm not gonna say Tyson fought in a weak era, but compared to the era before him, it was a weaker era, of course, right? So I make that argument. The next argument I make is, if we want to state the obvious, this is the obvious right here. Deontay Wilder's, when we talk about Deontay Wilder, the biggest knock on him and the biggest criticism on him is going to be that, he didn't fight top level competition until later in his career. That's truly the consensus. And I will say this, when Deontay Wilder built his resume, the heavyweight division was very, very weak, extremely weak. The heavyweight division did, because you got to think about it. Klitschko ran the division for like 10 years before Tyson Fury beat him. That whole era right there, Tyson Fury fought that era as well as Deontay Wilder. So when you talk about this, you talk about that's Klitschko's. He owns that essentially, right? So when Klitschko finally got knocked off, then we started a different wave of new fighters, and that would be Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua and Dillian White being the last two to kind of come up the rear, right? So I say this right here. I think Tyson fought pretty much the best guys that were around when he was fighting, from, would you say, 86 to 90? And I just think that Deontay Wilder hadn't yet done that. Because when you talk about Deontay Wilder in the era that he fought in, he was fighting when Klitschko was fighting. Those two never squared off. That, like I say, that Klitschko owns that. He owns that alone. And people, the consensus would say, that was probably the most lackluster era in heavyweight boxing for an extremely long time since Lennox Lewis was retired. So I think Tyson's Fury, I think Mike Tyson's era was weaker than the era before his, but by far I think it was better than the era that Deontay Wilder is now fighting in. Now you can make an argument that right now, you got several guys that can all beat on each other, okay? But you cannot, discredit the fact that, Vladimir Klitschko, Deontay Wilder fought when Vladimir Klitschko was fighting, and he's a part of that era. And I mean, at the end of the day, that was a poor era in heavyweight boxing, and that's just the facts of the matter. But right now, I will say that it is heating up, and the consensus was what I feel is the consensus is that people are now saying, "Hey, the heavyweight division has been as competitive in a very long time," and that itself is very, very true because, as like Doctor said, you do have a lot of guys that can beat up on each other at any given time. But with that being said, I think the era, when you go on a 4-year stretch, you say from 86 to 90, I think Mike Tyson era was better than Deontay Wilder post Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, and Tyson Fury, Luis Ortiz, without a doubt. And that's I rest my case.
Yes.
I want to say this.
Ahmed next. It's you, Ahmed.
I want to see this. Whatever fight doctor was saying, I haven't got the brain to really. I'll probably be here for 2 hours ripping apart his whole argument.
Well, we boiled it down to this.
We
boiled it down to this point. Ortiz from the fight doctor. Ortiz.
Yes, that was a very bad.
Mike Tyson did.
That was a very bad argument. He's obviously putting stuff into Ortiz, but I can't bother getting into that.
Yeah, look, and let me comment on that. I'm not going to put Ortiz into this argument because we're talking about Mike Tyson.
That was the only thing about that is how many of those guys fought southpaw. It's not like southpaws with this.
Let Ahmed get his point up. Let Ahmed get his point up. Let Ahmed get his point up, please. YG, let Ahmed get it back. YG, it's Ahmed's turn.
I want to see this. Look, so what? Wilder got more guys at the top of the mountain, whatever, than the Tyson either. He didn't fight majority of them. The one guy he fought, he lost, and he drew with that guy. A lot of people thought he lost. Anyway, he never beat that guy he fought. That was his rival. The rest of the guys, he didn't fight. We'll never know who would have won when they're both in the prime, when they're both unbeaten. Between him and Joshua, I'm not going to take sides. We'll never know. So they both miss out on each other. He never fought guys like. I'm just going to go through the list. Some of these guys might not even be great names, but they were a top 10 consistent top 10 heavyweights. I'm not talking about the WBC ranking. But guys like Pula, Parker, Povetkin. I know Povetkin kind of wasn't his fault, but he still fought guys like Luis Ortiz after they failed a test or whatever. So there's a lot of names that are missing from Wilder's resume. Now, when people say Tyson Zito was weak, I think the hero you could compare it to is Klitschko Zito. A lot of people say Klitschko Zito was weak, but Klitschko still had some very good names. It's just he was a level above guys like Povetkin, guys like Pula. I don't think he was a great hero. I agree with Phil. He was a weak hero. He was very boring at that time, but I think it's more to do with how dominant the champion was in that career. Because if you take Klitschko away, a lot of those guys would have beaten each other. Now, right now, I think Fury might be in a similar position. I don't think Josh was all that. I know he's got a good resume. And let's be real, on any given night, he could get knocked out. We've seen it against Andy Ruiz. And I feel the same with Wilder. The only thing is, Wilder hasn't fought those guys. If he fought the guys that Joshua fought, I'm pretty sure he would have lost a lot before than he lost, because it took long for him to lose, a lot longer than a lot of the other guys who backed out, because he didn't really fight the greatest competition. If he fought Povetkin, Vladimir Klitschko, I'm pretty sure he would have probably lost, at least somewhere down there. If he fought Joshua as well, or if he fought Vitaly Klitschko, some of these fights probably weren't possible. I'm pretty sure he would have lost, because he turned pro in 2008. Now, Tyson Zito wasn't the greatest, but Tyson still beat a lot of better guys. Trevor Bivik had beaten Ali. Larry Holmes was old, you could say, but Luis Ortiz is old as well. Larry Holmes probably wasn't in his prime, but that was still a good win. Tyson can play with his food. He got rid of him, really. He had good wins over Michael Spinks. I think the thing with Tyson Zito was he had such a small run. I think it's more to do with Tyson being overrated by some people. I do think he was a really good fighter, but once some of the things that weren't going his way went away, he couldn't deal with adversity. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that was a better era than right now. Because one guy you guys didn't mention was George Foreman. I know he lost to Holyfield in '91, but he still went on to. I know he's an older George Foreman, And the guy was like 45,
Tyson
6.
from 96.
He still, I still see he probably beat the majority of the guys right now, probably included Joshua Wilder. I mean, that's just, I mean, the era right now. I don't think it's a good, great era. It's just it's a lot more competitive. A lot of the guys are like not like wide apart in their ability. Like Castro, I think, is a lot more competitive. If I take Tyson Fury out right now.
Thank you. Well, when Mike Tyson fought, a lot of guys was intimidated from Mike Tyson from what they saw him done before he come to the championship. So when he became the champion, right? A lot of people they was intimidated from her. So you can't help that. That's the way it is, right? Trevor Burbrick, the Bone Crusher Smith. No, actually, he was a champion. Okay, when he became undisputed champion. So after that, right? Tony Tubbs and some of them guys there. When Wilder became the championship, I don't want say people was intimidated from him. They some of them feel like they had a good shot and Wilder blitzed them out, right? Now is it comparable? Then let's switch it around.
Now let's get this right. So Ortiz, according to the fight doctor, I want to ram it. I want to get it clear. Ortiz, according to the fight doctor, knocks out everybody that Tyson Fury did. Let that sink in. Anyway, let me continue with the footage.
Mike Tyson against Deontay Wilder's opponents, and Wilder against the Pinkley Thomases, the Tony T and Tubbs and stuff like that. I think Wilder still has a hard fight with him. I think Wilder could probably get them out there as well. And I'll be honest with you, but we're not really think about against the level of opponents. Also, you got Larry Holmes there, Wilder against the old Larry Holmes and stuff like that, who's taller against the same opponents. I could see what Tyson blitzing some of them opponents pretty easy though. But the reason is for some of them guys that were established. Mike Tyson fought ex-champions and stuff like that. So you have to credit in and look at Wilder's win. I don't think he fought many ex-champions like that. So I think you kind of would nod towards Mike Tyson because some of the guys he fought were ex-champions, but they were definitely old at the end of the thing. So I take that on board as well. But definitely a good question. It was a great debate. I actually thought it would go a bit longer, but it's up to the people in the chat. You guys in the chat and the rest of you guys in the panel, who do you think? Do you agree with? You agree with Rafi or do you? No, I'm just talking right now. Right? Thank you very much. Yeah, like, just let you guys. Yeah, who do you agree with in the chat and the thing? Because it is on my channel and it's on live. So when you in the chat and in the comment section,
It's on your channel online.
that's right. Yeah, we're live right now. Yes, it's live. Yes, it's live right now. I did. I said we're gonna go live before the thing. Yeah, that's what I said. But anyway. So you guys up in the chat.
Damn. So it was like half an hour in before I realized the damn thing was live. It was supposed to be a private chat. Half an hour in, got told it was live. Okay. Okay. So that was essentially the thing. It carried on after that for what? Another 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours batting it around for 1.5 hours, but ultimately that was the debate. It was agreed that was the debate. There's more. Damn, a lot of people have flooded in just now. Who we got? We got YG Knight. We got the Ped. We got She's Biz. Hit that, smash that like button, folks. There's more. Don't go anywhere. There's more. Don't go anywhere, but I'm gonna post up a link if anybody wants to come in and chop up what you've heard thus far. Anybody wants to come in and chop up what you've heard just far, I'm dropping the link. This is the intermission. This ain't the end. It's the intermission. Why am I shouting? The mic's right here. Yeah. So get your votes in. It ain't done. It's the intermission. Link is in the chat. Anybody want to jump on and chop up what they've heard just thus far? Kindly do so now. Where we are, going through Aaron Daly up in the building. She's busy. It was a 10-rounder. Where are we? Where are we? This thing's hopping around like a rabbit. Ortiz would have not a hope with anyone in the top 10 right now except for Wilder. Damn, and that's right now. That's not even back in Mike Tyson's era. For the record, obviously, you've heard what I've said. I totally disagree with the fight doctor. I don't know. Is he a doctor or a vet? I don't know. Is he a doctor or a vet? I think most logical people say Rafi was right. Ortiz can't go 12 rounds. Agree with Raphael. Boom, boom, boom. Let me put my headphones on.
Yo, Fight Doctor, click the link, bro. Please click that link. You got a lot of explaining to do. Please click that link. Please.
I realized Fight Doctor was here. Fight Doctor link in the chat right there. Fight Doctor link in the chat right there.
Please click the link.
Come on in. And AJbxng in the chat also. Click the link. The Fight Doctor is in the house. Where is he? I just heard a pop. Oh, that's YG though. That's not the Fight Doctor. You're looking for the Fight Doctor. Waiting for the Fight Doctor. Waiting for the anyway. What's this on my screen right here? Take that off. Yeah, unbiased or biased. Over here for the first time. How do you do today?
I'm good, man. I was just listening in, and man, I don't know how you did that yesterday because a lot of what the Fight Doctor was saying was just crazy, and it didn't make sense. It didn't, you know. He said Mike Tyson's era was weak, but then tried to cap off his era to make a point. If it was weak, then you wouldn't have to do that.
You wouldn't have to cap it. You wouldn't have to cap it. You wouldn't have to cap it. But here, for the first time, live on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, is none other than the man himself, the Fight Doctor. How do you do today?
Fight Doctor's in the house on Rick James status as always.
Okay, Fight Doctor, kill the noise, bro. In the background. I'm here to reverb. Okay. So Fight Doctor is back and unbiased or biased and unbiased or biased, unbiased is here in the building. So yeah, Fight Doctor.
Yeah, explain some of the stuff you were saying, please. Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
please. Let's break that down. Go ahead.
So listen. Mike Tyson's era was from 1986 to 1990 because it was during that time period when he was unquestionably regarded as the number one heavyweight in the world. Okay, there was no question.
Okay, but that doesn't make that. Oh, you got feedback.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay, well, let me just go ahead and rebuttal that. But just because he was not regarded as number one does not mean that his era isn't longer than that. You do realize that, right?
No. So, like for instance, wait. So Larry Holmes fought during the 90s, but that was not the Larry Holmes era. Okay. That was not his era.
Okay, how old is Mike Tyson?
Look, age does not figure into this equation.
Because Holyfield was a part of his era.
Wait. What figures into the equation is what your status is.
No.
Okay. Now look.
No. You're wrong. Look, Mike Tyson, Holyfield are literally the same age. Okay, he is a part of his era. All right, just because he wasn't regarded as number one doesn't mean that his era ended that time. No. He just wasn't at the top of his era. That's all that means. He came out of jail, 96, won a belt. That is still considered part of his era. Fight Doctor?
I think he's died. Fight Doctor's died. Somebody call the fight doctor a doctor.
Yeah, please come back up here because we're not done. I need to hear how Ortiz KO's Larry Holmes, but didn't KO Christian Hammer and got buckled and dropped in that fight. So please get up here, come back, fix your mic, fix whatever, and come back up here.
OMG. I think the fight doctor, his beeper must have gone off. His beeper must have gone. He's needed in the accident and emergency ward. So you know, but we got YG to step in his place. YG, come and speak the fight doctor's argument for him, please. We're trying to understand the madness.
I mean, you left a big part out of the tape because originally how the debate started, you started out with the Deontay Wilder's power is overrated. So
hold on. Let me stop you. I'm gonna come straight back to you. I'm not gonna take any time away from you. I'm coming straight back. Please understand this. Okay. So you said I've left off a big part of the tape. Well, hold on a second. There is more of the tape, yes, but I stopped it where we agreed the debate had stopped. So that's the first point. But you want to bring in something else? Please continue. YG.
All right, so it started off with the Deontay Wilder's power is overrated. So Fight Doctor brought up how most heavyweights...
Speaking to your mic, YG, please.
Most heavyweights don't have a bunch of, other than George Foreman, have a bunch of quality heavyweight knockouts. Meaning if you go down the heavyweight list, you're not going to find guys with 5 to 6 great knockouts on their list, even for big punches. So that's how we got to that point of going down Mike Tyson's list of who he knocked out and the era being weak. That's how we got to that part. And
and then he went on to say Wilder's era stronger, right? But Wilder actually was a part of the Klitschko era, right? And that's regarded as the weakest heavyweight era ever. So that in itself doesn't make sense neither. Like if you want to capsulate or try to cut short Mike Tyson's era to try to fit your narrative or whatever agenda you have, you could try to do that, but still when you do that, Mike Tyson still fought the better competition.
Okay, so here's my question, right? Now, during the 90s, can somebody tell me who did Mike Tyson beat?
Mike Tyson beat?
Who did he beat during the 90s?
During the 90s.
Yes.
Okay, why are you trying to capsulate?
Wait, listen.
No.
Wait, hold on a second.
His era. Go through his era.
I'm not trying to
asking niche questions. Stop asking niche questions.
How do you have a debate? Wait. How do you have a debate if you don't ask questions?
No, you're asking niche questions. You're trying to fit a narrative. That's all you're trying to do.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. You're welcome to it.
Talk about his era in totality.
Wait. I have a different definition than you, sir.
Okay.
So I don't have to adopt my definition.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't have to adjust my definition to fit your narrative.
Okay?
Now let me ask you a question. Where were you in the 1980s when all these fights were happening? Because I watched all those fights live as they happened.
Cool. Now can you make your point?
My point is that Tyson's era was 86 to 90 because that's when he was the best heavyweight on earth. Unquestioned.
But it's not.
All right, so
that's your opinion. Welcome to it. Thank you. But your opinion, but listen, your opinion has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Nor does it have anything to do with my outlook.
I don't know what you're talking. I really don't know what the hell you're talking about right now. But was Deontay Wilder? Hold on. Was Deontay? Hold on. No. Because what you're trying to do is just capsulate Mike Tyson's era to fit whatever narrative you got, which it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes, right? And Larry Holmes went on to beat other credible opponents. Now, I want you to tell me who in Wilder's era, right, did something like that.
Wait. What you want?
What Hall of Famer in Wilder's era was as good as Larry Holmes?
What you want is not relevant to what I'm talking about, okay?
Exactly.
Exactly. All right. Now, listen, It's not about what I can or cannot answer. It's about what the facts are. Okay?
You can't.
It's about what the facts are. Now, here's my question. Now, here's my question to you, since you like questions so much. Who did Mike Tyson beat in the 1990s?
In the 1990s, okay, we got Michael Spinks, we got Frank Bruno, we got Carl the Truth Williams.
No, in the 1990s. In the 1990s.
We got Henry Tillman. We got Henry Tillman, Alex Stewart, Donovan Razor Ruddock twice. Who else?
Bruno.
Frank Bruno again, Bruce Seldon. He lost to Evander Holyfield. That's most unfortunate. Franz Botha. So yeah, you got some strong names in there. You got Franz.
Wait. Stop.
You got the white Buffalo.
Stop. The only reasonably good name on that list, the only reasonably good heavyweight that Tyson beat in the 1990s was Razor Ruddock.
Okay.
The same Razor Ruddock who got knocked out in 2 rounds by Lennox Lewis, mind you.
Okay. Lennox Lewis is a great fighter. What's your point?
Other than that, Mike Tyson's resume in the 1990s reads like shit.
Let's talk about now. All right, cool. Fight doctor. Cool. Now let's get.
Who did Mike Tyson beat in the 1990s?
Let's get to Wilder's era. Let's get to his era. Now this is what I need you to do. Okay, list off names of fighters that are as good as Razor Ruddock. Okay, as good as Michael Spinks, because I'm not capsulating Mike's era like you are.
Michael Spinks was retired by the 1990s.
Okay. I'm not. No.
Michael Spinks.
Hold on. You need to actually listen.
One at a time.
Okay, but fight doctor, you need to actually listen. I'm not capsulating Mike's era just to fit your narrative. So again, I need you to tell me what Hall of Famer in Deontay Wilder's era was as good as Larry Holmes. That's number one. I need you to tell me who in Deontay Wilder's era was as good as Michael Spinks, Holyfield. Okay, start there and then come back to me.
Yeah.
The answer is none. Zero.
Those guys. What, you gonna answer the question? Are you gonna let me answer the question? It's amazing how you can ask all these questions, but you can't shut up long enough to let me answer.
Just go ahead, bro.
Okay, yeah, that's the reason why God gives you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Just go
listen
ahead.
more, talk less. Yes.
Answer the question.
Listen more, talk less. Okay, so first and foremost, Mike Tyson fought Larry Holmes, who was coming off a 2-year layoff and a 6-week training camp at 38 years old. So I don't even rate that win. That wasn't Larry Holmes. Now, unlike you, I understand this simple word called context, which is so very important.
Are you going to answer a question or no?
Answer
the question.
Just because you don't like the answer doesn't mean I'm not answering your question, sir. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Remember that. Okay, it's important. 2 ears, 1 mouth.
You're saying a whole bunch of nothing. So can you?
I mean, that's what you've been doing for the last 5 months.
Clean the shit out of your ears, and you'll be able to hear clearly. Yes. Okay. Now, Rocky Marciano fanboys love to tout the fact that Rocky Marciano knocked out Joe Louis, right? Now, Joe Louis is regarded as the first or second greatest heavyweight in history. I don't argue with that. However, Rocky Marciano did not knock out Joe Louis. Rocky Marciano knocked out the ghost of Joe Louis. Same with Larry Holmes. Mike Tyson didn't knock out Larry Holmes. He knocked out the ghost of Larry Holmes. So the fact that you even bring that shit up as a legitimate win, as if that win somehow separates Mike Tyson from the crowd, it demonstrates your ignorance of the boxing game.
You're literally saying nothing. You're saying nothing. Larry Holmes went on to beat credible people. That ethers your whole point.
I'm not
disputing Larry, you're saying he was hold on, no. You said he was a shell of himself. He was a shell of himself, but he was such a shell of himself that he went on to beat credible good opponents.
Excuse me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Those credible good opponents.
So again, this goes back to my initial point.
Credible good opponents that Larry Holmes beat. He did so not coming off a 2-year layoff, not coming off a 6-week training camp. Context, sir.
That's in your opinion that affected
that's not my
Larry.
opinion.
In your opinion, that affected Larry Holmes to the point where he wasn't himself.
That's a fact.
Okay,
and those are not my opinion. Those are facts.
And to you, that affected Larry Holmes to the point he wasn't himself. To you.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
So now, but that I still need you to name a Hall of Famer from Deontay Wilder's era that is like Larry Holmes. You have yet to answer that question.
Guys come off of a 2-year layoff and a 6-week training camp to beat the best guy in the division.
Hold on, Fight Doctor, if I may. Could you address that question? Could you repeat the question? Unbiased.
Okay. Can you name a Hall of Famer from Deontay Wilder's era that is as good as Larry Holmes?
No, I can't.
Okay, then the conversation is over.
No, the conversation is
and because you're saying that, and also if you're just going to talk about age, then remove Klitschko from Deontay Wilder's era, and there is no Hall of Famers there.
Wait, excuse me. Again, we go back to context. Who was the Larry Holmes that Mike Tyson fought? Who was he? He was a guy coming off of a 2-year layoff and a 6-week training camp at 38 years old. Now, when Larry Holmes continued his career after the Tyson fight, he wasn't coming off of a 2-year layoff and he wasn't coming off of a 6-week training camp. So you're talking apples and oranges. Now, again, context is important. Now, fanboys, like some people, named Unbiased, for instance, don't take context into consideration. Oh, Rocky Marciano, he knocked out the best heavyweight.
I never said anything about Rocky Marciano, well, so I don't know where you're going with that. That's not my logic. That's not my argument.
I'm sorry, you're right, because you're not using any logic. You're not.
No, I am. I'm using logic because Larry Holmes is still a good win.
Very good win.
So you could say that it's not, because in your opinion, right,
not a good win.
that's what happened.
But here's the fact. All right, but now here's the fact.
You wasted too much time talking about Unbiased. Get back to talking to Ralphie, because you actually came here to talk to Ralphie, and Unbiased is holding up too much.
No. We had our debate. We had our debate yesterday. Unbiased wanted in on this. Unbiased wanted in on this.
He's punching above his weight class.
If you want, no.
Get back to talking what you call it, because you taking one part of the conversation and stringing it out. The whole topic was that Deontay Wilder's power is underrated. This is how we got to this whole topic, and you just jumped in the middle of that and you take it overrated.
Nah, because that's not what Ralphie was telling me about. That's not what Ralphie played, and that's what now we need to address
Ortiz
beating everybody on his resume.
That Mike Tyson did. Yeah, that's the agenda.
So we fixing the narrative then.
No, we're not fixing the narrative. That's the topic.
Because I thought that was the topic.
That's the topic. Look at the title of the piece.
How do we get to the point of we was talking about Ortiz in the first place? Because you brought up how Deontay Power is overrated.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the definitive statement was made: Ortiz KOs everyone on Mike Tyson did. So that's an easy to chop up, easy to digest topic. So that's what we're talking about. The Fight Doctor said it, and now we're talking about it. But the Fight Doctor.
So again, like I was saying, context is important. I don't go along with the Rocky Marciano knocked out the greatest heavyweight in history argument. I go with the argument that Rocky Marciano knocked out the ghost of the greatest heavyweight in history. Okay, because that's essentially what happened. Because Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis was well past his sell-by date by the time Rocky Marciano got his hands on him, and the same is true of Larry Holmes with regard to getting knocked out by Mike Tyson.
But then the difference.
Even Mike Tyson would admit to it.
Hold on a sec. I'm gonna open the floor back to you. But the difference with the Rocky Marciano beating a Joe Louis is that Joe Louis retired, whereas when after Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes went on and continued his career and had big wins.
Okay, I'm not disputing that.
So that's the difference.
But again, it seems that everybody wants to ignore the context, the conditions under which that happened. Okay.
No,
Larry
you
Holmes. Wait. And this is not what I'm saying. These are the facts. Okay, look. Mike Tyson wasn't originally supposed to fight Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes was a replacement because the original fighter, the original opponent for Larry Holmes, for Mike Tyson, had dropped out for whatever reason. Okay, they got Larry Holmes to come in to fill in for whoever Mike Tyson was supposed to fight that dropped out of the fight at the last minute, literally at the last minute. Okay, 6-week training camp, coming off of a 2-year layoff at 38 years old, and you're going to tell me you're going to rate that win? Come on, man. I mean, what are we talking? Are we serious, or are we just fanboys?
Well, we can't really, we can't even get into that because then, you know, we have to question every fight. We have to say, well, you know, this guy lost to that guy, but I don't think he should have. So maybe that guy had only had a 5-week training camp. So if we start going down that realm, then you can say, well, no fight is legit because maybe this guy had a problem, maybe this guy stubbed his toe. You know, you can't do that. You can only look at you look at the results and you say, well, who won and who lost? A guy goes into a fight with a concussion, nobody knows about it, and then he gets knocked out easy. Another guy goes into a fight with a damaged shoulder, neck, back, knee, whatever, and so he doesn't perform at his best. So then if we open that door, then we can speculate about every fight. Then no fight's legit because we can say, well, maybe the guy had a problem in training and so boom, it don't count. You can't do that.
And at the end of the day, Larry signed the contract to fight Mike, right?
Yeah, now you sign again. Okay. Now you guys are sounding like. Now you guys are sounding like.
You're gonna say that. No, we're not sounding like fanboys.
It's not what I say. These are the facts, sir. The facts. This is not my
Larry. It's still Larry Holmes. Like Larry Holmes is still a great fighter. Just like here. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Klitschko. Wait, can I give you an example? Let me give you an example. Klitschko out of the ring before AJ. How many years?
He was out 11 months.
Okay. No, it was like 2 years.
It was like 18 months. It was a year and a half.
Yeah. Okay. He came back, and that was the best version of AJ that I've seen. I mean, best version of Klitschko, right? So it's really about how you take care of your body. You weren't there.
Best version of Klitschko
you weren't there. Hold on. You weren't there. You weren't there with Larry Holmes in his training camp, were you?
What does that?
No, you weren't. Because what you're saying is that he had a horrible training camp, and you're saying that the win's going to be good for Mike Tyson.
Stop. Hold on. Stop. Don't put words in my mouth. When did I say that? When did I say Larry Holmes had a terrible training camp? When did I say that?
Because you said it was too short. So you're saying it was too short of a training camp, so Mike shouldn't get.
Now this is where you prove that you don't know shit about boxing.
That's what you just said.
Wait. Hold on, wait.
That's what you just said.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. Just listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Remember.
Just say it, bro.
I will as soon as you shut up. Let me finish. Okay? 2 ears, 1 mouth. When did I say anything about Larry Holmes having a terrible training camp? Do not put words in my mouth, sir.
Bro, you literally okay, all right. No. You just said out of your own mouth. Larry Holmes had 6 weeks training camp. You guys seriously going to give him credit for that win? Are you guys serious, or are you fanboy? That is literally what you just said.
Because now you're changing your narrative. Now you're saying X, and then you're saying Y. First you say, I said X.
What?
Now you're saying I said Y. Now, which lie is it?
Hold on.
Get your line straight, okay?
No,
that's what you said.
Which lie is it?
That's what you said.
No, it's not what I said. Let me tell you what I said. I said it, so I'll tell you exactly what I said.
Okay, then go ahead. We already know what you said. You said his training camp was not a good training camp.
Because you telling me
he was on a layoff. He was on a layoff and didn't have good training camp.
Okay, now are you ready to listen?
It shouldn't be a good win.
Are you ready to listen, or you want to continue running off at the mouth, sounding like an idiot? It's up to you.
Well, nobody sound like an idiot, but carry on. What? Reiterate what you said.
All right. Now I said. In fact, it's not even what I said. This comes out of the man's mouth himself.
You said it.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm simply repeating what Larry Holmes said. Now, there's film footage of Larry Holmes saying exactly what I already said, which is he was coming off a 2-year layoff and a 6-week training camp. That's what Larry Holmes said. Okay, that's what he said.
Right.
All right.
And
now,
in your opinion,
wait, hold on a second. Wait, let me tell you what my opinion. I'll tell you what my opinion is.
Go ahead.
Now, I did not say that Larry Holmes had a terrible training camp, but what I do know, and this is a fact, he had a short training camp. That's a fact. That's a fact. All right.
Well, he's not the
I
only
also know that he was coming off a 2-year layoff. That's also a fact.
Training camp, though.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Larry Holmes is the only man in the history of the game who's had a short training camp.
Listen, that's fine. I'm not disputing that. Okay, but again, context is important. And the fact of the matter is, it's not what I say. This is what the man himself said. 2-year layoff, 6-week training camp. The man was a last-minute replacement for Mike Tyson's original opponent. Now, these are all facts. You can look this up for yourself. You ain't got to take my word for it. In fact, I would encourage you.
That's fine.
I would encourage you to look this up. Okay,
that's fine. So, even if that is true.
So now to go and say that Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes without an explanation of the conditions under which the fight takes place does Larry Holmes and Mike Tyson injustice. Okay, that's fanboyism. Context is important. All right, did Mike Tyson beat Larry Holmes at his best? No, he didn't. So stop with this bullshit. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what it is. It's bullshit. Okay. All right. No.
Well, so ultimately, Fight Doctor, it's a win on the resume. It's a name on the resume. And so context, you may have a point with the context, but it's still a win on the resume. And ultimately, I think you're trying to establish your point that Luis Ortiz could KO everybody that Mike Tyson did. And even Larry Holmes coming off a hiatus at a 6-week training camp. I just cannot see. I can't see Luis Ortiz taking him out. Can't see it. Can't see him taking him out. I can't see who else we're looking at. What's the list? I can't see Luis Ortiz taking out Donovan Ruddock. Who else we got? In 89, Carl Williams, Frank Bruno, Michael Spinks.
Ralph.
I can't see them.
Jedi wants a link.
Jedi, the boxing Jedi. Where is he? Or is he in the chat?
Yeah.
2v2. 2v2. Okay, I'm gonna bring Jedi in a second. I just don't want to. I know it's. I just want your closing arguments. Before I bring Jedi in, closing arguments.
Well, okay. Look. If Fight Doctor wants to take away Larry Holmes, and that's fine. You want to take away him, and there's a crux. And that win, there's like a asterisk next to it. If that's the case, then there's still other fighters that we could mention. You know what I'm saying? There's Razor Ruddock, and also
Ruddock,
Trevor Bourbon,
Williams, Frank Bruno.
So, who in this era of boxing is like that?
Yeah,
that's a good question, Fight Doctor. Who?
So Razor Ruddock was not in that fight. Happened post Tyson's era. Tyson's era was over by 1990.
I'm not trying to cut you off at all. Can I just ask you a simple question of like, what's your terminology with era? Like, to you, is that when the fighter is reigning at the top? That's when you consider it? Okay.
Yes. So Larry Holmes' era was from 79 to 85. Okay. Michael Spinks ended the Larry Holmes era. Tyson's era was 86 to 90. That era was ended when he lost to Buster Douglas. Okay. And Tyson was never on top again. In fact, Tyson's best win post 1990, post Buster Douglas, was the win over his first win over Razor Ruddock. And that's it.
So
Okay, he did nothing of any consequence since.
can you still be a part of an era without being the top of the era?
Well, listen. So Mike
No,
Tyson
just answer that one question. I'm just asking that.
I'm answering the question. All right.
Okay.
So Mike Tyson competed in the Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis era, which was the 90s. That era belonged to those three guys because they were unquestionably the three top heavyweights during that time. Tyson didn't figure into that equation. He beat nobody. He didn't beat any of those three guys. He fought two of them, lost to both of them. So did Tyson, did he compete during that era? Yes. But was that his era? No.
He had a belt in 1996, and then that was the first belt that Evander Holyfield won. So wouldn't that be his era? No.
Yeah, so
that wouldn't be his era.
So as I recall, Evander Holyfield won his first title in the 90s in 1990 when he beat Buster Douglas. And I don't rate belts, I rate titles. Well, I'm sorry, I rate the title, which is the lineal title. And besides that, there is no title. All right? There's belts. There's belts and then there's the title. So just because you win a belt, that means nothing to me. Belts are good for holding up pants. That's it. Okay?
Yeah, but Mike Tyson was the one holding it, though. So that didn't do nothing for you? You didn't...
So at what point during the 1990s was Mike Tyson the heavyweight champion of the world?
1996.
No. Mike Tyson was a titleist. There's a difference.
He beat,
right? So
he beat Frank Bruno.
So here's the lineage. Here's the lineage of the heavyweight title during the 1990s. So it went from Tyson, who lost it in February 1990 to Buster Douglas. Douglas lost it to Holyfield. Holyfield lost it to Bowe. Bowe lost it to Holyfield. Holyfield lost it to Mora. Mora lost it to George Foreman. Foreman lost it to Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs lost it to Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis lost it to Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman lost it to Lennox Lewis. That is the lineage of the heavyweight title during the 1990s. At no point, at no time does Mike Tyson figure in that equation except for his loss to Douglas in February of 1990. Period.
Boom.
Belts do not figure into this equation.
What about his fights with Evander Holyfield? He had two fights with Evander Holyfield in the 90s.
Yeah, he lost both.
2 losses.
But that's still his era. That's still his era.
Though. That's still his era.
That's still his era. Just because you don't.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. As I recall, Evander Holyfield won the lineal title twice during the 1990s. That makes that Evander Holyfield's era. Now, Mike Tyson,
that's not the definition of an era.
It's
The definition of an era is a time and or potentially a place when you were in operating. So if your era as operating a crane was between 1999 and 2010, then that was your era. You don't have to be a champion to be in an era.
Okay, then I guess that was my point. We're currently fighting we're currently living through the Bryant Jennings era.
Are we?
No,
according to your definition,
he's in this era, yeah.
He's in this era.
In this era, yes.
But it's not.
No. According to your definition, we're living through the Bryant Jennings era.
No. Bryant Jennings is functioning
a part of in this era.
So whose era would y'all call this now?
It's not one particular person's
era. It's the Bryant Jennings era.
It's nobody's era.
It's nobody's era.
It's the Tyson Fury era.
You don't have to be at the top of the food chain
Tyson Fury won the
to be your era.
So Tyson Fury. Okay, I don't know what. Listen.
You don't have to be lineal. You don't have to be lineal for you to be a part of the era.
And that's your opinion. That's your opinion, and you're welcome to it. But using logic, it's your era when you are the dominant force of that era. Mike Tyson was the dominant force from 86 to 90. Period.
Who was the dominant force of the 90s?
Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. It was their era. They shared it. They were the 3 top heavyweights of the 1990s. Anyone who says differently doesn't know shit about boxing.
So it was a shared era. It was a shared era.
Yeah, it happens.
Bro,
But
you
they
can
were
be
the
a
three.
part of
So
an
you can
era
argue.
and
So
not
you can
be lineage.
argue. So you can argue that early '90s was Holyfield era, mid '90s was Bo era, late '90s was Lennox Lewis era. Okay, but they shared the '90s.
They shared
As the three dominant heavyweights of that era. Those guys collectively dominated the '90s. And anyone who argues differently, I'll be more than happy to have that debate with you and mop the floor with you. Okay, because that era belonged to those three heavyweights. Period. End of story.
Mike
86 to 90. Mike Tyson did not figure into that equation. Who did he beat? Did he beat one of those hold on. Wait.
If he didn't figure into the equation, he wouldn't have been fighting. He wouldn't have been fighting the Evander Holyfields. He wouldn't have been fighting Frank Bruno.
So then I guess we're in the Bryant Jennings era. Didn't he fight Vladimir Klitschko? So according to your definition, we're right now living in the Bryant Jennings era. We're living in the Andy Ruiz era. That's even better. Right now. We're in the Andy Ruiz era.
Bryant Jennings is a boxer within this era. That's all that is. Era is nothing but a period of time. You're talking about the guys who were the champions lineal at that period of time. If that's your definition of it, whatever, right? But that doesn't change the fact that those boxers were still a part of that era.
Was Mike Tyson a champion in the 90s? Did he beat Frank Bruno and get the WB and become the WBC?
Wait. Listen, WBC means nothing. Those titles. Wait. Hold on. Listen, let me ask this question.
Hold on.
Hold on. Let me ask this question. Where was the WBC? Wait.
Mike Tyson a heavyweight champion in the 90s?
No, he was not. No.
Well, certainly was. He certainly was the WBC.
We already went over the lineage of the heavyweight title.
But that's not the end all be all. I mean, it is to you. It is to you, but it's not.
There is 100 years of boxing tradition that says lineage means everything. Title belts mean nothing. Now, for all of you who are on the WBC's payroll, here's my question to you: where was the WBC when Jack Johnson was the heavyweight champion of the world? Where were they?
It wasn't made up yet.
Thank you. It wasn't made up yet. Made up. That's what the WBC, BA, IBF, all that shit. Made up. It does not exist. It is a fairy tale. It is a figment of somebody's imagination.
That's fine, but that doesn't change.
Here's the fact, okay? There was no WBC when Jack Johnson was the heavyweight champion. That is a fact, sir.
What does that have to do with boxers being a part of an era?
What it has to do with the fact that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So listen more, talk less. Okay? And stop disputing the facts. Let's just deal with the fact.
What you're saying doesn't even coexist to what I'm saying. Like I'm telling you, an era is a period of time. An era is a. Okay, hold on. Okay. You just said you have 1 mouth, 2 ears. You need to use that. Okay. Now look, an era is a period of time. Boxers can fight in an era, in a period of time. Okay. That is the point that we're trying to make to you. All right. Yeah. Just because Mike Tyson wasn't lineal doesn't mean he was not a part of that era.
Yeah. Listen, look, I never.
That is the point that we're. Yes, you did. You just sat here and said all that shit about Jack Johnson and lineage, and you literally just did that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No.
I'm glad you brought that up though, because yesterday when we started this, and we was talking about Deontay Wilder's era, they didn't even want to add AJ in the era because Wilder didn't fight him yet. See, this is why I said you wasn't there from the beginning of the conversation, and you jumped in.
But YG, that don't matter because I'm listening. I'm listening to what Fight Doctor is saying right now.
Yeah, right.
And what he's saying right now is that Mike Tyson wasn't a part of an era because he wasn't lineal. That doesn't make sense. An era. No. Hold on. I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking. Hold on. Hey, listen. Do what you've been saying. 1 mouth, 2 ears. Shut it up. Okay. Now you said that that was not Mike Tyson's era, and you brought up Lineal and Lineage. Okay, cool. If you want to say he wasn't Lineal, cool. He wasn't. Doesn't matter. He was still a part of that era. If you don't know the fucking definition of era, just tell me, and I will let you know. Okay, you don't have to be lineal for that to be you to be a part of that era. You just don't. The floor is yours.
Excuse me, sir. Pardon me. First of all, I never said that Mike Tyson was never part of the 90s era. That was never my argument. I said the 90s was not his era. I didn't say he didn't participate in it.
It was a part of it.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
Bro, and when I
heard you. Now it's time for you to listen. Time for you to listen. Okay? Time for you to listen. All right. Stop putting words in my mouth, please. Because you've been doing that the whole conversation. Tell me what I said. No, I'll tell you what I said. Thank you. Okay? Don't put words in my mouth. Now, again, where was the WBC during the Jack Johnson era? It didn't exist. Much like your argument doesn't exist. Much like what I'm saying to you that
doesn't exist. Are you done?
Yeah, because it's not going to get through to him. That's why I said you was better off just talking to Ralphie because he's not. No, it's
not going over my head. He's talking about belts. He's talking about belts and how belts don't matter. I understand that. YG, mute. Just mute.
Nah, you need to
mute. Look, just mute yourself. At this point. Just mute yourself. He's talking about how belts don't matter. Whatever. 10 belts don't matter. Cool. I don't care. But that doesn't change the fact, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't he saying that Holyfield is not a part of Mike Tyson's era?
The dominant era. That's why I said he wasn't at the beginning.
So that's the point.
From the dominant era.
Holyfield is a part of Mike's era. Yes, he is.
They
both are from the same era.
Wait.
That's it.
Wait. No, stop. So, okay? No, that's not what I said. And again, you're misquoting me. Ask me what I said. Ask me what my opinions are. I give them to you. Don't put words in my mouth, which is what you've been doing since the beginning.
Ralphie, you were here, right? What did he say? He
said it was the 90s was not Mike Tyson's era.
Okay. All right. So if I'm putting words in your mouth and Ralphie heard the same shit, is he putting words in your mouth? Or are you just now trying to switch what you're saying?
You could be a part of
ask the chat. Matter of fact, don't even ask us. Ask the chat because they're the ones actually listening. I know I'm using my 2 ears. I know I'm using my 2 ears like you've been saying for the past 30 minutes. I guess Ralphie's not using his 2 ears too because he heard the same shit.
Maybe your ears have shit in them and you should clean them. Okay, Q-tips, sir. Q-tips.
Hey, Ralphie heard the same shit. Ralphie heard the same shit. Ralphie heard the same thing.
I heard the same.
Ralphie heard the same thing. So clearly, either you're lying, which I think not lying. I don't want to say you're lying, but I feel like maybe now you're switching what you were saying before. Okay, or me and Ralphie, I guess we're just hearing shit.
We're hearing shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It wouldn't be your first time that you heard something that you really don't understand. This is why I told you fall back.
Exactly. Okay, sure, YG.
Exactly. See, the problem,
because they know what they were talking about from the beginning.
YG, I'm listening now though. I'm listening to what he's saying now, and what he's saying doesn't really make sense.
You hear Fight Doctor, but you're not listening.
He said that belts don't matter, and that's okay. If he said YG, no, I'm listening. He says belts don't matter, and that's fine because I've actually been on a live with Fight Doctor. He broke down why belts don't matter to him, and that's okay. I'm not even here to debate that. If that's what he believes, then cool. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent, I actually agree with that. Belts don't matter.
Okay, so then now we're starting to make a connection. All right. So now we're starting to make a connection. Now we can start to have a dialogue. Now we can understand each other. Okay. So now let's have a dialogue. All right. Let's have a dialogue. So again, now look, I understand that you have WBC, WBA, IBF, and that a lot of folks give those organizations credibility. Now, I'm not one of those people because I look at it from a boxing tradition, historical point of view. And from what I understand, there was no BC, BA, IBF. Them shits didn't exist when Jack Johnson was heavyweight champion. Okay, they weren't around. So for me to equate someone who holds one of those organizations' belts with Jack Johnson, just because they hold one of those organizations' belts, well, that's unfair to Jack Johnson, who had to fight the best available opposition, actually beat the man in order to become the man, which is tradition in boxing. You beat the man, you become the man. Now, at no point during the 1990s did Mike Tyson beat the man. He just didn't. Right. So that's not his era. Now, was he a part of that era? Yes. He fought in the 90s. Of course, I was there, I saw it. However, was he the unquestioned number one heavyweight during any point in the 1990s? February 1990, and that's it.
See,
the 90s was not his era. It just wasn't.
Okay,
now,
so
in the era, yes, but that wasn't his era.
So YG, now I need you to listen, right? So was I wrong? So was I wrong by saying that what he is saying is that Mike Tyson was not the lineal champ, so that is not his era? Because that's basically what he just broke down to a T. When I said that, you said I didn't know what he was putting down, but clearly I did know. So I need you to stay on mute and let us grown folks talk. All right. So now,
all right, now,
fight doc. No. Stay on mute. 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 I'm not done because I'm talking to Fight Doctor, because I literally said this about 5 minutes ago, and you told me I wasn't listening, but I was listening and I was addressing him. And I said that just because Mike Tyson was not lineal in that era does not mean he was not a part of that era, because era is just a period of time and eras can overlap each other. Okay,
exactly.
So
but
yes,
the beginning
so
of the,
yes,
the,
you
the
could
beginning
be a
of the-
part of
the beginning
an
of
era.
the topic
So,
was about who was at the point when they was dominant. This is why I said you jumped in the middle of a conversation.
No. Explain that statement again.
The topic started because Ralphie was saying that
YG, nobody's hearing you right now. Say a whole complete sentence. Say a whole complete sentence. YG.
All right, my last statement is I'm biased. After you finish addressing what you're saying, let's just let Ralphie and Fight Doctor talk. That's the last thing that I'm gonna say.
Well, basically, we've had our debate. This is the show about the debate. So you know what I'm saying? We've had our debate. So
but the people didn't get to hear y'all
the Fight Doctor can now explain his position to unbiased. It's very simple. It's very simple.
I was hoping that the Fight Doctor could straight talk to you and not come on your show to talk to Unbiased.
No.
I mean, that he came here to talk to you because at the beginning of the program,
I have played the debate up to the point where we agreed. Up to the point where we agreed it was the end of the debate, and now we're having the post-debate show. So that's what's going on.
So basically, you don't want to talk to.
I am talking to him. But this is
that's why I was saying that.
Well, YG, why does it even matter, bro? We're all here right now. Fight Doctor said what he said, and now
talk instead of me and you keep talking over them.
Not at all, bro. Now you've got a third party who can see if he can digest what the Fight Doctor is doing. So Unbiased is acting as the chat. The chat is on the panel. It's a simple concept. It's the post-debate show. So please, Unbiased, continue.
So I guess me and Ralphie misheard Fight Doctor, or when he said that. Well, actually, now I know what he means by it's not Mike Tyson's era, because Mike Tyson was not lineal. However, that's his definition of era or whatever, but that doesn't change the fact that Mike Tyson had a part of that era and had Holyfield in that era and had other fighters that were way greater than Deontay Wilder's era, because he was a part of that era. You don't have to be a lineal champ to be a part of that era, but your definition of it is your definition of it.
Right. So the 90s was very deep. I mean, the 90s is probably one of the best heavyweight eras ever. I mean, Just look at the names, okay? The guys who fought in that era at their absolute best: Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. And you had other guys too: Michael Moore, George Foreman, the comeback kid. So the 90s was Mike Tyson. So the 90s was very, very deep. And to be on top during that period of time says a lot about the quality of heavyweight that you were, okay? It says a lot. However, that wasn't Mike Tyson's era. And I don't think that today's era competes or compares favorably with the 90s. It just doesn't. It's a fucking joke when you compare then to now. However, the late 80s was a different story. The mid to late 80s was a different story. And I don't rate that era very well. And when I compare 85 to 90, when I compare the heavyweight division then to what we have now, I think that what we have now is marginally better. A lot better, no. Marginally better, yes.
So to be specific, Fight Doctor, you're saying this era is marginally better than which era?
Than the Tyson era. So 86 to 90.
86 to 90.
But that's only the Fight Doctor's definition of era. So let's also put that into context, right? Because that's his definition, but that's not the definition of era. That's his.
But Mike Tyson won the WBC and WBA belts in the 90s.
But that's what he went back to saying, that belts don't matter. See, he's going by lineage. That's what. Yeah. So he's going by lineage. That's his point, right? But still, that's why I said, even if you do that, that does not take away from the simple fact that those fighters were a part of that era. Yes. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Yes. So when we sit here and we actually break it down, Holyfield and Mike Tyson were in the same era, right? They were. So therefore, that era is way better than today. That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
Yes, that's a key point. I was looking for a key point, and Tyson was in the same era. This is what I'm saying. Mike Tyson was in the same era as Holyfield, who was in the same era as Foreman, when he came back, who was
you guys have basically
no, I haven't finished. Who was in the same era as Lennox Lewis.
So you guys have basically rehashed my argument.
Hold on. We're doing this this is the post-debate show. We're doing this for clarity for the chat. For anybody who listens to this, we do it. This is for clarity. So I'm just making something clear here on my understanding. Mike Tyson was in the same era, because you need bullet points, was in the same era as Holyfield, as Foreman when he came back, and Lennox Lewis. And I think that from my point of view is very, very important, because YG raised the point. He said the reason we're talking about era is to compare, is because my original position and which remains is that Deontay Wilder punch power is maybe overrated, based on and it is rated based on him beating relatively for the most part mediocre. Hold on.
Just bums.
Hold on. Mediocre. Sorry. mediocre opponents. So it becomes relevant when we look at eras. So that's why the era talk came about, and that's why we had to clarify what is an era. And you say, hold on. And you say, Fight Doctor, that Luis Ortiz bangs out everybody that Mike Tyson in his era. And so the reason I'm just going through is so that we have perfect, crystal clear clarity. We have clarity that Luis Ortiz, you say, bangs out everybody Mike Tyson did in his era. And my dear fellow, on that, we have to, Biased and I think we have to disagree with your point and YG's point. We disagree. Over to you, Fight Doctor.
Well, that's why we have debates.
Yes.
And again, using my definition of era, I don't rate Mike Tyson. Now, so Evander Holyfield did not fight in the heavyweight division during Mike Tyson's era. He didn't. All right. Mike Tyson's era.
Sorry, my mind drifted. Say that one more time, please.
So Evander Holyfield did not fight in the heavyweight division during the Mike Tyson era.
You mean during 86 to 89?
Correct.
Okay.
He was at cruiserweight. He was at either light heavyweight or cruiserweight. All right.
But he was fighting in the 90s, though.
Well, yeah, of course. He was fighting in the 1990s. All right. Those guys turned professional about the same time, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Okay. But Holyfield turned professional as either a light heavy or a cruiser. Mm-hmm. And Mike Tyson was a heavyweight, of course. So again, the Tyson era, 86 to 90, and I don't rate his opposition terribly high. I mean, they were good guys, but I don't consider them any better than Deontay Wilder's best knockout victory.
You don't consider?
With the exception of Michael Spinks, only because of who he was. Now, I'll make an exception for Michael Spinks, but everyone else,
you don't consider?
No.
You don't consider what? You don't consider what?
Well, I just have who did Luis Ortiz beat for that to be such a great win? That's my question to you.
Nobody.
So,
but again, comparing that to Mike Tyson's best knockout victories during the 90s, who did any of those guys beat? I mean, outside of Michael Spinks. Okay.
Well, you can't take Michael Spinks out. How are you going to say that?
Who did Larry Holmes beat during the Mike Tyson era? Who did he beat? Seriously.
Larry Holmes?
Yeah. Who did he beat during the Mike Tyson era?
Who did Larry Holmes beat? He was
retired for most of Mike Tyson's era.
That's what I'm saying. So how can you
say? So again, you're asking me who did Luis Ortiz beat? The guys who Mike Tyson fought, who did they beat? Who did Michael Spinks beat during the Mike Tyson era? I think he has a win over Jerry Cooney. Okay,
he did beat Jerry Cooney.
Yeah.
He beats
Holmes in 85.
He beat Larry Holmes in the late 86, in the late 80s. So yeah, your question is who did Michael Spinks beat? Well, he beat Larry Holmes twice and Jerry Cooney.
So he beat Holmes prior to the Mike Tyson era beginning. That was prior to the Mike Tyson era. Okay, essentially.
Yeah,
but I'll give you that. That second victory, I would count that as a victory during the Mike Tyson era. Okay.
It's
I would consider that. So beside Michael Spinks, who did any of Mike Tyson's opponents beat? Who did they beat? Seriously, Trevor Burke, who did he beat?
Well, who did he beat? Okay, well we can look at that easily. Let's take Bone Crusher Smith. Let's take Bone Crusher Smith. He beat Frank Bruno, didn't he? Bone Crusher Smith beat Frank Bruno. I'm just looking for the year, trying to find the year.
Why are we taking out Michael Spinks for just because? To make it fair?
Yeah.
Fight Doctor? Is he still there? Or did he fall off? No, I guess he fell off.
Now. Okay. But he might come back.
No, I just wanted to know why we're taking him out. Are we making it fair? Is that what we're doing, or what do we?
That's a good question. The Fight Blood Doctor is back.
Yeah. Sorry guys, the phone is tripping.
No problem.
So I was just fuck. What did I just say?
Why are we taking out? Why are we taking out?
So there's an exception. There's an exception to every rule, and Michael Spinks would be the exception. I mean, Michael Spinks was a good fighter. Well, was a damn good fighter. The greatest light heavyweight ever, arguably. Okay, so let's just take Michael Spinks, set him to the side. All right, he's the outlier.
But what?
But
My question.
as far as-
My question.
as far
My
as the
question
rest
is
of-
why.
Because of his status as being the greatest light heavyweight ever.
No, I get that, but why are we taking him out for
Because
what he did at the heavyweight division?
Because he's the exception to the rule. Okay.
Is that to
But-
like make it fair for
but-
Ortiz? Is that what we're doing?
No. Not
So,
at
why
all.
can't we, so keep him there.
No, I'm just saying. All right. So if you want to consider Michael Spinks, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Spinks has good wins he has a good win
Well, there's
in the
couple,
Mike Tyson era.
he's got a couple, and also Frank Bruno has a couple of good wins as well. He beat who did he beat to get the championship? I think it was Oliver McCall. He beat Oliver McCall.
So he beat a crackhead.
He beat Oliver McCall. Oliver McCall's personal issues, nothing to do with me, my friend. He beat Oliver McCall, and who did he beat? Carl the Truth Williams. Who else did he beat? He beat Perry Kutsia, this tough South African. He beat Joe Bogner, the hell of a tough guy. So he's got a good few wins under his belt also.
We don't even really need to go that far, right? Because we were keeping Michael Spinks, right? He beat Larry Holmes. So now we need Ortiz's best win. That's Brian Jennings.
Right. So I think we
So
already.
I think that conversation's over at that point.
I think we already said that Michael Spinks would be the exception to my rule. Okay. So Michael Spinks.
Yeah, but that's but that makes you're just like, all right, let's take him out to make it fair. That's what you're doing.
Michael Spinks. So I tell you what, let's leave Michael Spinks in. So Michael Spinks beats an old Larry Holmes, right? He beats old Larry Holmes. He beats an old Jerry Cooney, and that's the extent of his work during the Mike Tyson era.
Even so,
but hold on. But Larry Holmes had a training camp and all that. There's no asterisk next to that win, correct?
No. Well, actually, actually, there is because a lot of folks will argue that Spinks lost the rematch.
Okay, so, but he beat him the first time.
So that wasn't during the Mike Tyson era. That was Larry Holmes.
No, but he still beat him, right? So he beat him, right?
The question.
I'm not talking. Hold on, Fight Doctor. I'm not coming at you. I'm just saying, right? Yes, the win was outside of Mike Tyson's, in your definition of era, right? So. But he still beat him, right? So that's still on his resume. I thought we were just going by resumes. And if we're going by just resumes, that's still there for Michael Spinks. Whereas if, we go to Ortiz, all he has is a Brian Jennings, right? That was a Larry Holmes that had a good training camp and he beat him.
Okay.
And then if you go to Ortiz, it's just Brian Jennings. And
if you go to Ortiz, is nobody. If you go to Ortiz, is nobody. I agree. Wholeheartedly. So
okay, so then
Michael Spinks is the one exceptional win on Tyson's resume during his era. I freely admit that. But outside of that, you have a bunch of nobodies.
Nobodies.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm not saying they were tomato cans. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying they were tomato cans.
God.
But they were nobodies because nobody cares. Nobody cared. Nobody cares now. Listen, had they been knocked out by anyone else, nobody would care.
Wow. Unbiased. Is that a fitting conclusion? I think that's a fitting conclusion because everybody's expressed themselves. Everybody's point is very clear. I think my point is that Mike Tyson's era is from the 80s straight through to the 90s, and to be clear, and let me use some damn technology up in here. Why can't I damn use some technology and share a damn screen? Application window. Yeah, there it is. Share that. Okay, it's probably too small for people to make out, but to be clear, this is just for historical purposes, just to make sure this is perfectly clear, logged. What we're looking at here. We're looking at the wins of, the record of Mike Tyson. There we go. Mike Tyson. Let's go back. Let's go back. Oh yeah, 86. You say that's when his reign started. 86. Okay, so 86. So we're looking at Jesse Ferguson. Everyone remembers that. I want to push his nose bone into his brain. James Quick Tillis, Mitch Blood Green, Marvis Fraser, Joe Robalta, Jorge Robalta, Trevor Alfonso Ratcliffe, Trevor Burbick, James Bone Crusher Smith, Pinklin Thomas in 87, Tony Tucker 87, Terrell Biggs 87, Larry Holmes 88, Tony Tubbs 88, Michael Spinks 88, Frank Bruno 89, Carl the Truth Williams 89, James Buster Douglas, who he lost to, Henry Tillman, Alex Stewart in 1990, Ray Donovan Razor Ruddock, 1991, 91 Ruddock again, and that's and then where are we here? Where are we here? Buster Mathis Jr., Frank Bruno 96, Bruce Sheldon 96, Evander Holyfield 96, Evander Holyfield 97. Lost those two. Beat Frank Botha, and then that was his last fight.
So yeah. I mean, Fight Doctor, you brought up Ortiz, but then admitted that he didn't beat nobody. So what? So I mean, again, is that really a good era then?
I'm not high. So I'm not high on the current heavyweight era. I'm not.
But it was better. But it was better.
I mean, so of the three top guys in the heavyweight era, right? One of them has a glass jaw, and one of them can't box for shit. I mean, seriously, this current heavyweight. Look, the heavyweight division has been a joke since 2003. Since 2003. The day Lennox Lewis retired, the heavyweight division overnight became a joke. And it's been that way ever since. And American heavyweight boxing has been in the shit. It's been in the toilet.
Yeah, the Klitschko's. You had the Klitschko's.
Who?
You had the Klitschko's. The Klitschko's.
Come on, man. I mean, yeah, look, listen. The Klitschko's get points for being the first tag team heavyweight boxing champion in the history of the sport. They get points for that. But in terms of their overall body of work, yeah, both of their resumes. Listen, let's talk about Billy Klitschko for a second, okay? The man lost by knockout, mind you, to the two best heavyweights that he fought. Okay? Never rematched Bird, never rematched Lewis. For whatever reason, I don't care. But rematches didn't happen, and that's all I care about. Okay? His best win is a 38-year-old a 38-year-old retired semi-pro golfer. That's Billy Klitschko. That's his best win.
Who's a retired golfer?
Well, you said Vitaly Klitschko
was a retired boxer. He was coming out of retirement. He was a semi-pro golfer when he fought Vladimir.
Oh, Vlad. Okay.
Okay, that's who he was. That's the best. That's the best name on. That's arguably the best win on Billy's resume.
About the Klitschko era, I'm not too high on it too. I'm not going to sit here and defend it and be like, oh, it was the greatest. No. However, they did reign for 10 years. I think you kind of have to give him some credit for that. Yeah. He fought Chris Bird and beat him. He beat Chris Bird. You could give him that. You know what I'm saying?
But listen to what you just said. You said they reigned.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, or Vlad. I should say Vlad did. Vlad reigned. Not really Vitaly, but Vlad did, yeah. And Vitaly gave Lennox Lewis a hell of a fight. He was, to me, I thought he was winning the fight until that cut got open. So both of them are good fighters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they've been, or Vlad's been knocked out multiple times. And, the era wasn't a strong era. So I'm not in a disagreement with you on that. This definitely wasn't as strong as the 90s, that's for sure. So, yeah.
No, the heavyweight division has been shit for a long time. And I suspect it's going to continue to be that way. I mean, Tyson Fury is the best of the bunch.
Sorry, let me interrupt there. Just speaking to the people. Thanks for coming in. don't forget to smash that like button. We haven't finished yet, but I just had to put a reminder out there, like a public information thing. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for exclusive content. And don't forget that tonight at 9 p.m. UK time, we're hosting a Q&A, live Q&A with Rick Glazer right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And don't forget the little dollar sign down there if you want to put in, if you have been entertained by Unbiased, if you have been entertained and shocked, in shock and awe by the Fight Doctor, if you have been entertained by the show, don't forget to tickle any one or all of those buttons. Please continue, the Fight Doctor.
So I rate Tyson Fury as the best heavyweight post Lennox Lewis. Now, maybe not in terms of his resume. Maybe, I guess you could say that overall body of wins, that would be Vladimir, even though losses do count, and I do hold his losses against him, as you should, because, well, he lost. And not only do I take into account losses, I take into account who you lost to and the manner in which you lost. And getting brutally knocked out to no names, well, those are strikes against you that Tyson Fury doesn't have. So if anybody wants to rate Tyson Fury over Vladimir Klitschko, you're not going to get any resistance from me. I would not argue.
Well, he beat him, right? He beat him, so.
And plus he beat him. He has a win over Vladimir. Now, granted, in context, Vladimir was old, long in the tooth, okay? An older Vladimir, and I don't know. Maybe a younger Vladimir would have made it a closer fight. I don't know. However, we go by what we had, and they fought. Fury won. So I consider Fury to be the best heavyweight post Lennox Lewis. But having said that, the post Lennox Lewis era has been shit, and that's actually being kind. It's been a shit.
But yet you're saying that Ortiz would beat everybody, that would knock out everybody that Tyson beat, knocked out.
Right.
I would have no problem picking Luis Ortiz to knock out everyone Tyson knocked out at the time in their careers when Tyson fought them. Yeah. Yep. Because it was a weak era. It just was. I mean,
so that era was weaker than this era.
Yes, it was. I'm sorry. It just was.
Okay. I think that encapsulates it perfectly. That encapsulates the argument, the both sides of the argument perfectly. You think that this era is weak, but that era was even weaker.
Marginally. No, I'm not saying
if we're being honest, man, Wilder's era was weaker than Klitschko's.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, wait. Wilder was a part of the Klitschko eras, actually, to be but he just didn't fight nobody until now. Now he's fighting people. So
yeah. Yes. So I think we're gonna go to final words. People got the days to get on with. I got the next live to do later on this evening. So first final word, we'll go with the Fight Doctor.
So my final word is heavyweight boxing has been shit for a long time. I would love to see another golden age like what we had in the 90s, like what we had in the 70s. But I don't know what the hell. It seems like American boxing for a long time, American heavyweight boxing was sort of like a primer for the division, and that's gone now. And it seems like, the rest of the world hasn't picked up the mantle, for the heavyweight division. So, yeah, it's sad. I enjoy watching the fights from the heavyweight division from back in the day, especially like the Muhammad Ali fights, the Larry Holmes fights. I would implore everybody to go watch Larry Holmes and his fights with Ken Norton, his fight with Ernie Shavers, especially the first Shavers fight. That was a contest, okay? That's when heavyweights knew how to box. Okay, when the heavyweights knew how to jab, when they knew how to move, when they weren't 250 pounds, lumbering around the ring and gassing out after 5 rounds.
Was that in the 90s?
No, the first home Shavers fight was, I think, 1977.
Hey, Rascal got a good a comment for you, Fight Doctor. He said Ortiz got KO'd by a guy you said cannot fight, but Ortiz beats all the guys that Tyson fought or KO'd.
During his era, yeah, sure. I'd have no problem picking Ortiz to knock those guys out. Sure. I mean, the one notable exception would be Michael Spinks. But outside of him, yeah, I think Tyson. I think Ortiz could knock those guys out. Yes, I could. I don't rate those guys very high. I don't. It was a weak era. It was weak. Now, that's not to take anything away from Mike Tyson and what he did during that era, because what he was a phenom. And it isn't so much that he knocked these guys out in as much as it is the manner in which he went about doing it, which is what separated him from the crowd. Okay? Because fact is that in Mike Tyson was a combination of speed and power, which the heavyweight division had never seen and has not seen since. I mean, Mike Tyson is truly an anomaly. We've never seen that before. Never. Haven't seen it since. And I suspect we could probably go the rest of our lives and never see anything like that again in the heavyweight division. Okay? That's the truth. However, doesn't detract from the fact that he fought during a weak era. He did.
The Mike Tyson fought.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Words,
right.
Biased or biased?
Yeah. So, Mike Tyson did not fight in the weak era. The definition of era is just a period of time. So if we're just going by like facts, that's a fact. He fought, against good quality people, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. I definitely think the 90s era was a lot stronger than today by far. It's not even like questionable. Wilder's resume is tremendously weak. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my take on it. Luis Ortiz definitely does not beat the guys that Mike Tyson KO'd, especially when Ortiz got KO'd by a guy who really has no good fundamentals, is off balance majority of the time. We saw Ortiz get buckled and dropped by Christian Hammer. He went life and death in that fight as well. He's struggling with Tony Thompson. Dave Allen took him 8 rounds, struggling with Malik Scott. So hell no to that sentiment that he's going to KO guys that Mike Tyson KO'd. Just fuck no. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on that.
Yeah. Yes. And so, in the interest of clarity, what are we doing here? Okay, straight. Okay, so in the interest of clarity, we had the post-debate show. This is the post-debate show, and it was good to get Unbiased on as a representative of the chat on the panel. And it was good to have the Fight Doctor come back on so he could clarify his points. You've heard both sides of the fence. I don't really need to add anything on because you know what side I'm on. So you've heard both arguments. You be the judge. And once again, this is Boxing Talk with Rafi. It's appreciate everybody coming around. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so now. And once again, thank you to the Fight Doctor. Thanks for coming over. And thank you to Unbiased or Biased Boxing. Okay.
You're welcome, sir. To the next go round.
Yeah, man. Take care. Appreciate you coming over.
Right, no problem.
So it's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. So where we at? Okay. So hopefully you're all entertained. I hope there hasn't been too much brain damage. Smarty Jones says this debate actually hurt my brain. So Raphael Dawkins is the Combat Radio, and it is blessed.